Alright, welcome to another edition of Rocket Talk and Wingtips. I don't have an intro this week. I tried to do something a little more creative and it didn't work, so I'll practice with it this weekend. Anyway, welcome back to the show, guys. I'm recording, so I'm going to try to stay on the same plane as what I've been wanting to. I want to open with one thing that I've seen lately, and it's kind of been bugging me, is there's been an uprising because more people have been out with the wonderful weather. There's an increase in conspiracy nuts talking about chemtrails versus contrails with the aircraft that fly overhead leaving the long white smoke. And the concept is, as the intro that I have, basically talking about the government killing us with fluffy white clouds. The concept is that these long trails that are in the sky are laden with chemicals, that they're somehow poisonous or trying to kill us or something, and the government does this. I don't see why. I don't understand. I understand the concept that, yeah, it is possible because you see some short trails and you see some long trails, but they've been doing this since World War II. And any aircraft that flies above 18,000 feet or so has the potential to leave these contrails, whether they're piston bangers or if they're, jet engines, turboprop, turbofan. They have that potential to do that. And thank you, Brian. It is the better part of the show, hopefully. Hopefully I won't wreck it. But it's good to see all you guys. Thanks for joining. I do appreciate it. Anyway, the concept is just goofy to me. That this is some sort of conspiracy. They're saying that, these things have chemicals in them, but nobody can pinpoint exactly what. And at the same time, you're looking at these contrails. You've all seen them. We all know what they look like, the long white trails in the sky. And nobody can seem to actually prove conclusively that there's anything bad with it. If you're so concerned that these are chemicals in these trails, I have an idea. Get your pilot's license, fly up there, stick a cup outside the window, take an air sample, put the cap on, fly back down and get it evaluated. It just makes sense to me, instead of just saying, oh yeah, that's bad for you, it's real deep. Come on. Pull your head out of your ass, wake up, do it yourself if you're that concerned. Or, but I don't get it. And, so yeah, and if it's so much of a concern, another issue is, you watch these airplanes fly. They make banks. It happens. You turn, hey, I gotta change course. On windy days, that tapers out. I was just outside with my dog who loves contrails. She barks at them. She barks at the airplanes that make it. And she looks at it, and I'm watching the planes. It's been a really windy day today. And she's watching it and going nuts, and I'm watching the planes fly towards Philadelphia from the New York direction. We're talking about contrails. The chemtrails versus contrails, the long white trails that aircraft make. Andy, you'll get one. You will get a rant about CMEs. Just give me a couple of minutes, please. Yeah. But anyway, these chemtrails, they're saying this is real bad things. But I watched sorry about the noise. I watched a plane fly towards Philadelphia from New York and make a turn into the direction of the wind because the winds up high today were pretty strong. And, yes, hi Andy. But the winds were really strong. And he made the turn away from Philadelphia before he got to it. So if this is some sort of way to drop chemicals or pollutants or toxins or poisons, whatever you want to call it, onto large, heavily populated areas, why would you turn? But the concept is just ridiculous for these people to say this. Like I said, if you're really that concerned about these being chemtrails, fly an airplane up, get an air sample yourself. It's not hard to do. I mean, really, all it is, essentially, is a couple of hydrocarbons and mostly water vapor. That's really all it is. So, but anyway, yes, the next topic, actually, let me go ahead and check my notes real quick, because we literally just got in from a wedding reception, so my brain's kind of flight of the bumblebees. V'ger playing solitaire with our old friend Pluto. I wanted to hit on a subject because a friend of mine asked me about it this week. We have a lot of deep space probes, the ones that go, further than the moon and all that. And several of the ones that have actually gone outside the solar system are Pioneer 10 and 11, Voyager 1 and 2, and Deep Horizons, which is on its way, is actually faster than all four of them. But once it gets out to Pluto, which is where it's headed for the ultimate destination, it will slow down a lot because the gravity well for the sun is so powerful. And basically what it comes down to is it's not going to ever catch up to Voyager again, even though as fast as Voyager actually is. Voyager is gone, and it's not coming back. We'll never see it again. They've actually got the gold records on it to say, hi, we're from Earth, this is where we live, third rock from the sun, and all that. And the next fastest thing right now is the Voyager and Pioneers, which are dead. But New Horizons is on its way. It's gonna, just move towards Pluto. 38,000 miles an hour right now, but it's going to slow down, like I said, because the gravity well. It's not going to catch up to Voyager. But, so the answer to that, whether or not Voyager is playing solitaire with Pluto, no. But it is exciting to me to see that we actually have 4 probes going all different directions outside the solar system, plus a 5th on its way. The reason New Horizons isn't going to be able to catch up, even though it's moving faster, is because Voyager got a gravity assist from Jupiter and Saturn, which is cool, slingshot effect. It works. Conservation of energy. But when it comes to New Horizons, it didn't get that advantage. It didn't get the slingshot effect, so it's basically running away with a bit of a tether tied to you. You go so far and that kind of pulls you back, then you snap it, and you kind of veer off course. That's really what it comes down to. A couple other topics that I wanted to mention were GLXP. GLXP finally locked it down. We have 29 teams. They're all just regular little groups of people every day. They're not NASA. I apologize for the video bugs. I'll take a look at those actually in a second. Bear with me. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me see what I can do. But, so basically they have 29 teams, and let me see if I can fix this. That looked bad. And what those teams are competing for is the first one to get out to the moon, crawl around 250 meters if I remember correctly, and get pictures and video and maybe even a sample return from the moon. 500 meters. Thank you, Heldesk. I thought it was something like that. I couldn't remember off the top of my head exactly. But that's pretty cool. You send a bunch of little robots, foot, 2 feet, 3 feet long, a couple of pounds or kilograms as the case may be. Go up there, scoot around, take some pictures, and it's inevitable that one or two might crash at least. I don't really like the idea of it, but it's pretty inevitable. The odds are pretty high. And they get, pictures and they get video of the artifacts that are there, like the Apollo landers or any of the crashed, previously launched probes that got there. And so, we'll see what happens. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. From what I understand, at least one team, Team Tater Tot, might actually be taking Legos. And if they can make yeah, that's right, they're making Legos. And if they can make a Lego lunar lander to scoot around on the moon, dude. Oh, okay, sorry, my gain is too high. Sorry, let me go ahead and kick that down some. Sorry. Alright, is that better? But, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to this. If they can get Legos up there, that's going to be epic for everybody. Because nobody has any, everybody loves Legos. You never get tired of it. You never outgrow it. You can always build something later on. Helldusk, I do apologize. I don't know why, if the audio seems to be working. Seems like it's working on this end. But I am pulling for the GLXP, just to shift back to the subject. GLXP is Google Lunar X Prize, and you get $15 million if you can land in the next 5 years, and you get an extra, not $15 million, what am I talking about? Jeez. Hey, good radio show again. $29 million. So, yeah, and you have to be able to do it, get up to the moon, get video, HD, and pictures, and send them back. I think there may be a bonus. I didn't look into this to confirm, but they might also offer a little extra if you can do a sample return. So, that'd be cool. I'd like to see it. I don't expect it necessarily, but, you know, it works. Legos, yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing about that. Another subject that I was actually going to hit, and I'm trying to remember what it was, again with my notes. The return of Planet X. Here we go. Everybody get your foil hats ready. There's now a theory that all of these errant comets and asteroids and stuff that come whizzing past the Earth as of the last couple billion years or so might actually be stirred up out in the outer regions of the solar system. And the concept behind that is basically, as I say that a lot apparently now, they think that there's a planet 4 times the size of Jupiter out beyond Pluto, out in the Oort cloud. Apache Man, my foil hat, my foil hat's somewhere over there. But, no, you always gotta have a foil hat ready somewhere in a, close vicinity, because there's a lot of people out there who think we didn't land on the moon, and NASA's sending out secret radio waves because the government told them to, and, we got the chemtrails, so you gotta wear your foil hat to keep you safe from the chemicals. But Pluto is not a planet, and I will go into that in a bit. But no, they have this theory that this planet, and it's not necessarily Planet X, and it's certainly not Planet Nibiru, is outside, somewhere hidden in the Oort cloud, which is a little breeding ground for objects that come whizzing towards Earth and the sun and frighten everybody and make them think that the world's going to end soon. But this thing's 4 times the size of Jupiter. I think I said Pluto before, but it's 4 times the size of Jupiter, if it exists at all. Right now they think it might, but they have no proof. We think it's there, but we're not sure. Go figure. But if that actually happens, if we actually have one out there that's actually, kicking things towards the sun, that's cool. They say that Jupiter was on the verge of being a cold star, or it's a cold star. It didn't get enough mass to it to ignite. But if it had a little bit more mass to it, they estimate about 11 times what it currently is, it would become a star. Well, this new planet, if it exists, and if they can find it, it's not massive enough. It's very gassy. Must have had Taco Bell last night. It's very gassy, but if they could add more mass to it, or if we could, get all the asteroids to behave and join forces with it, yes, like me, Genevieve. Thank you. I didn't have Taco Bell last night, but anyway. Yes, there are sirens. We live on the main road for the hospital, but I apologize for the sirens. Sorry. But we have if we could get all of the asteroids and all of the objects up there and all the debris and the ice rocks and ice chunks and everything, if we could get them all into a pile and help join forces with this secret hidden planet that nobody is sure if it even exists, and if we could figure out a way to merge it with other stuff, we could have 2 suns. And I don't watch enough Star Wars to say one way or the other, but I think it's Tatooine that has 2 suns, I believe. That'd be kind of cool, in a way. It's far enough away that we're not going to have an issue as far as being overheated from it, which is cool for me. I don't want to be waking up and burning to death. I think that was also in Chronicles of Riddick 2, the movie. But it's far enough away that it's not going to be an issue unless you actually like sleeping in the dark. And if that happens, you'll end up having another star. It's kind of faint, but you might see it. And you know, I'm kind of looking for a tan on each side. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm still recovering from a cold. Yeah, you'd end up having a tan on each side, Jim. But like I said, it would be interesting. The additional gravity well may or may not throw things off, but on the bright side, you have Jupiter to kind of give you a hand with that. You know, it would basically be the goalie for Earth. It would protect us a little bit. So, it may not be that bad. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Mercury suddenly decides, that's it, I'm going to hang out with them? Nah. But Pluto would melt, and then you would see how tiny it is, and you would say, that's not a planet, that should be a moon. Oh, that's going to stir the pot, wouldn't it? But I'm a firm believer that Pluto is not a planet. And the reason is, it dips inside Neptune's orbit. It does not have enough mass to keep a tidy orbit. It doesn't have good housekeeping skills, like me. And what that means is, all these little objects, the near Pluto objects that may float by, they just kind of don't move out of the way, so it runs into them and stuff. Neptune and Uranus don't flip orbit. It's just that Pluto's orbit dips just inside of Neptune's. Hangs out there for a little while because you've got Pluto here and Neptune here because Neptune has a normal orbit and Pluto does not. If this was the ecliptic of the solar system, this is Pluto's orbit. It's completely goofy. Not to mention the fact that as it is right now, we know of at least 4 objects that are bigger than Pluto. And half of Pluto's mass, as the little piece of dust floats by, a little piece of mass, or 50% of Pluto's mass, is ice. If it melts, and especially if there's another star, if it melts, you've got 2 moons, basically in a binary system. We can hook up a rocket to that, you know, ion drive, Vasmir, bring that towards Earth. You know, take advantage of it, see if there's anything, you know, worth value on it. I don't think Pluto would mind too much because now it would be right up in the sky and everybody goes, oh, Pluto's a planet, no, it's a moon now. Okay, that's cool too. So, that's just my take. I'm not, you know, I don't believe that Pluto is a planet, and there are several reasons, as I just listed. Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson got hate mail, from 2nd and 3rd graders. They drew pictures of Pluto. No, it wasn't an impersonation of you, Jenny. But they drew pictures of what Pluto looks like, as I get a text message, sorry. And they were saying, look, this is what Pluto looks like, so it's a moon, or a planet. And Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know, he's one of, I guess you'd call him an idol of mine. You know, he's like, look, I'm not the one who made this decision. I'm part of the group that did, but it's not just me. And he got literally hundreds of emails from 2nd and 3rd graders and all the way up to, you know, adults, saying that they grew up their entire life saying that, you know, Pluto's a planet. Now it's not, as of 4 or 5 years ago. It's justifiable reasons why it's not a planet. I completely agree with every single one, plus a couple of other reasons. There are 4 objects bigger than Pluto. Why should Pluto be the only one that's picked as a planet? The others should be too. That's just my take on it. But, you know, there's a whole bunch of stuff about that. And so, you know, I think that, you know, if they're going to do something like that, if they're going to say, well, Pluto's not a planet, and suddenly we do have another star that comes to be, melts all the ice, well, yeah, we could use the water on Pluto. It's got a lot of water on it, apparently. We can use that to go out beyond the star, or the solar system. Cool. What's the problem? I don't see one. It's taking advantage. Why take the fuel with you when you've already got it there? Water is literally hydrogen and oxygen. Same thing that runs on. Just saying. Go ahead and pop my eyes back into the chat for a minute. How many times are we going to have to reprint textbooks? Well, Uncle BS, so far we've done it twice. Pluto was a planet, then it wasn't a planet. So that's one change. Then it became a Plutoid, or a dwarf planet. So that's the second time, basically. We would have a lot of objects the same size as Pluto that would be considered planets. This solar system would never stop growing. I mean, look at Jupiter's moons. Some of those moons are, you know, I think twice the size of Pluto. They're planets in their own right if they weren't orbiting a bigger planet. But yes, Pluto is called a Plutoid to appease those who pine for it. That's actually very well put. I don't object to the solar system growing, Uncle BS, but it's going to get to a point where nobody can remember, you know, how many planets we have or how many there are or what their names are. When I was growing up, I remember this, what do they call it, a mnemonic? I believe that's what it's called. When you assign a sentence for a long string of words or letters so that you remember. And the one that I learned was many vigorous Earth men jump straight up near Pluto. And that went from the innermost planet, Mercury, you know, all the way on through there to Pluto. And that was, you know, I still remember it to this day. I was 9, 8, somewhere in that range. 3rd grade, 4th grade, somewhere there. And, you know, I can give you every planet all the way out. They start adding more, and, you know, it's going to be harder to remember. Jim Noble said, easier to name. Sleepy, Grumpy, Goofy. Yeah, that would work. Uncle BS, many vigorous Earth men jump straight up near Pluto. That was the one that I learned, and I don't know, there's probably others that are easier to remember. But that's the list, going from Mercury all the way out to Pluto in that order. I had to learn the same thing for the Great Lakes. I remember the Great Lakes in order from largest to smallest. So, and that was silly hiccups make everybody odd. So it's Superior, Huron, Michigan, Erie, and Ontario. But Helldesk, at that time, I wasn't really into space too much. I mean, I kind of was. I just didn't really care enough. I was more interested in watching the space shuttle launch. I was in like 3rd grade or so. But I'd watch the shuttle launch. I didn't look at the, now I don't remember the 13 names in my brainstem. But, no, I never really got an interest in the planet so much. I mean, I thought they'd look cool in the pictures. But, oh, 12 cranial nerves. Thank you. Sorry, Andy, we're trying. Andy's officially trained in life-saving and myocardial infarctions and stuff. Even though they changed that name. He'll correct me in a minute. But, no, you know, you have little things like that you kind of remember later on. And, you know, it comes into play. But I never really took advantage of what I had available to me until I got to about 6th grade or so. And I promised to teach my, or to make a drawing for my teacher that was a life-size scale, 1-to-1 scale of the space shuttle from the side view. And she said no, she didn't want it because it would be a waste of paper and I could use that paper for doing something else. But I actually had my heart set. I did all the research. I learned how big the tail was, how much surface area the whole side of it was, da-da-da-da-da. And I was actually going to do a full scale, as geeky as it is. You can make fun of me, I don't care. I liked her. She was a good teacher. And I wanted to make a full-scale side view of the Space Shuttle Orbiter. Not the stack itself, though. But, you know, sure, it's geeky, I know. But get over it. You know who I am. You know me well enough. These are my passions. I don't know if you can see that well enough. But, I'm going to show off my not new, but my shirt. You guys, some of you might get a kick out of this. Yeah. Huh? So, I like this shirt. I've worn it for a few years now. It's one of my favorites. Few people stop and ask me about it. So, it's like napalm. Sort of. Jump off a carrier. I've never done it. I want to. I want to experience, even if it's just for a while, and I won't now because I'm out of the military, but I would like to live on a carrier for a little while. At least 2 weeks. Just so I get a feel for it. But, Hodesk had another one. My very elegant mother just served us 9 pizzas. Actually, that's not too bad. I kind of like that one too, with regards to the mnemonic for getting out to Pluto. That's pretty cool. Half dead. If I jump off of it, it's going to be in a fighter jet, hopefully shaped like that. Oh yeah, you can see it in the picture, alright. But it's anywhere from 65 to 90 feet long, or a 90-foot drop from the flight deck. Depends on A, how much fuel's on board, and how much, how mission capable they are. But, yeah, I'd do it. I wouldn't jump off. I can't swim. Don't say anything. You can join the Navy and not know how to swim. I know how to tread water. That's allowed. So, But I've gotten better. I can sort of swim now. Jenny's a witness for that. Jenny said, if you lived on a carrier for a couple of weeks, you'd have bruised shins for months. That's true. Yep, because they got those awesome knee knockers. And every time you forget about them, you end up, tripping and bashing your knee against, inch-thick steel. I'm still a horrible seaman. I'm not a seaman. I was an airman. Get over it. What's this? Updated to my very elegant mother just served us 9... What? That works. Pluto's not a planet, man. Dude, and you get so many, people who are upset about that. Like, my wife, she's very Pluto is a planet. She doesn't get so emotional, but, we go off back and forth a little bit. She has her... She tells me to shut up. She has her reasons and I have mine, and her biggest argument is that, well, it's always been a planet. No. But, no, I'm a big fan of the idea of making Pluto, have its own little category. I'm not against that. It's just not a planet. Not like the rest of us. And I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but Pluto is not recognized by a planet, and Pluto's not happy about it. So... OnStar does not recognize the shut up command. That's a shame. No, Pluto will never grow big enough from the stuff it slowly eats up out there. I agree, Helldesk. It'll be a very long time, and we will no longer be humans when it finally is big enough. So, but, okay, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to questions from you guys. If I think of anything, I'll go ahead and ad-lib, but figured I would open it up a little bit more, a little earlier this time. Let's see what you guys had to say. Oh, CMEs, thank you. Corona mass ejections. Okay, these things are scary depending on where you're at. The dino rant, I'm not familiar with that. Oh, yes I am, sort of. Hopefully one of you guys will copy and paste it into the chat because it's worth repeating. No, corona mass ejections are basically just giant belches of radiation and plasma and all sorts of bad things that humans really don't deal with very well all at once. And it makes pretty colors in the sky in your northern latitudes and southern latitudes. It's very dangerous for astronauts if they're on the space station. If they're outside the space station or a space shuttle and they're doing some kind of work, that's a very bad thing because you're getting bombarded by cosmic rays and radiation and, subatomic particles and neutrons, not neurons, that's what you already own. But you get all these crazy, just insane amounts of energy blasting right through you. It's also bad for satellites too, absolutely, because you have little electronic devices and little sensors and circuits and wires and all this, and you've got things moving at just under the speed of light hitting it. And regardless of whether it's a proton or a wave or whatever, photon, not proton, you're going to have it blasting through this thing, making tiny little holes. And of course, over time, it eventually destroys whatever it is that you're aiming at. But they've actually had, Andy says he still thinks there's a suicidal astronaut who would head dive into it. There's an issue with that. And I don't want to bring it up right now, but let's just say that there was an astronaut a few years ago that made everybody on board the space shuttle a little uncomfortable. So much so that they actually padlocked the door. They looked at the hatch. Actually, you can't see it. Again, I did it. You can't see it in this picture, but on the mirror side of this, right here where the hatch is on the side, there's, you got the door. That's how they get in, through that white room there. And he got in, he was doing his thing. I'm not going to get into too much detail because I want you to tune in to find out later. You know? But basically he made a couple of comments, and it was enough to cause the commander to say, maybe we should lock that hatch. So they did. But yeah, it was made a couple of, it was a teaser, yes. Made a couple of people uncomfortable. And so yeah, but there's been a couple of instances mentioned in books also. It's not too bad. Most of the astronauts are pretty responsible, professional. They understand what's going to happen. I like Clay Anderson. He's not my favorite astronaut. I'm not really too picky when it comes to astronauts, but I have a lot of respect for him. I have a lot of respect for all of them. But on STS-120, he was part of the off-going crew from the space station. And there was a lot of negative reaction from some of the fans of the shuttle program. They watched him up there, and they were... he got very emotional because he went through a lot of hardship. One of his family members, I forget who. No, it wasn't Lisa Novak. It was well before her time. The one that had the issue with the hatch problems. No, the one with the honey demonstrations, that was Don Pettit. He's a geek, kind of like a cross between Bill Nye and Mr. Wizard. But he had science, they call it Science Saturdays. Science Saturdays? Something like that. Space Science Day or Space Science Saturdays. Something like that, I'm sorry. But he would do an experiment or several experiments each weekend. And it was to, kind of bring an interest. Space Vidcast, actually. I've sent some content to Ben. I'm trying to get it uploaded. I will eventually, or he will, or somebody will, or it'll show up magically one day on the internet, and you'll go, oh my god, that's cool. But NASA has. He is a strange dude. Don Pettit, he is kind of a strange nude. But he's actually really intelligent. He just has a unique personality. I like him. I mean, he's not, I'm not going to go up and talk shop with him, but I definitely pay attention to what he has to say because he knows the shit. I enjoy watching him. No, Clay Anderson, he was on the STS-120 crew. The cross would be strange. Yes, it would. That's true. Cross between Bill Nye and Mr. Wizard. Yeah. Beekman's World. Remember that? Had the rat, had the one girl, the rat talk with a New York accent. But, yes, Clay Anderson was at Space Up this year. I like him, like I said. But he got really emotional because he was away from home. You're 220 miles up, going 18,000 miles an hour in this thing. And, well, he was in the space station, but close enough. And it was a big deal, And a lot of the guys coming, it's like, he should not be, is he of the mental capacity to be an astronaut if he's going to get this worked up about going home? But it was significant to me because I watched STS-120. It was my favorite mission since Hubble's launch, back right around that time, early 90s. And, they're all going off on Beekman in the chat. I like Beekman's World. I enjoyed it. But, it does look like I am spiking. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if I can fix that. That's a little too much. There we go. But, no, STS-120 was exciting because they actually got, that was when they deployed the solar sail, or not the sail, but the solar array, and it ripped, and they had to go out and make cufflinks. Basically, it looked like zip ties. And they had to connect it and, hold it together so it wasn't a big deal. I mentioned this last week, but I'm mentioning it again because now I'm actually recording. Hopefully your stream actually behaves and lets me record this time. But basically what it came down to was they had to do this while the solar panel was live, producing electricity at 300 volts at the time. And he had a hockey stick about 1.5 feet, 2 feet long. And he's up there. It was Kirby Beamer. And he's, he's keeping an eye on the solar sail because it's flexing just from the energy imparted by bumping it. And he's got this hockey stick, basically, like I said, about 2 feet long or so, wrapped in Kapton tape. And basically it's the same material that you find like hard drives and stuff in. As my computer just, but it's the anti-static bag that computer hardware comes in. And they wrapped it up in that, and he's basically working on it, putting these zip ties in. If it would flex towards him, he had to poke it. They had another astronaut, and I can't remember no, it was Kerbeam on the bottom, and it was Scott Perezinski working the actual solar array. But Kerbeam's looking up, he's 150 feet below. I love that spacewalk. It was just so intense. People were like, oh yeah, spacewalks are boring. Dude, this was real shit. You had this guy dealing with 300 volts 300 volts of live active electricity, and you're trying to protect that from hitting your spacesuit because your spacesuit's full of a lot of electronic things. And you're not in one of those, hardware bags. So you got this flexing, you got all this going on. You got one guy down there, he's looking up, going, yeah, you're good, and he's telling him. And they made the cufflinks, took the zip ties, they took 5 of them, put it together, things 8 feet across or whatever, and strapped them all together so that it held. And the entire time, still producing electricity, they had one thin band of electronic wires about that wide and about that thick. It was like an IDE strap, one of the straps in your computer. And this was brilliant. Nobody was trained for it. Nobody expected anything like it. And the only ones who actually realized that this was going to be an issue was the moment it ripped, and they stopped and they went, oh shit. They're looking out the window watching this thing come out, and it just tears. They're like, stop, hold on, wait, hold on. Don't move. Pull it in a little. Okay, go ahead and try it back out. Oh, nope, stop. Done. And they had to go from there. So now all the NASA engineers, like Apollo 13, have to run into the back and like, well, we got to figure out what to do. 3 days later, they had a full plan. They said, this is what you got to do. This is how you're going to do it. This is when you're going to do it. And this is what needs to be done afterwards. No training. Let's just get it done. Boom, they got it done. I'm like, dude, and you can still see it to this day. If you go out and watch like high-res pictures of the space station when they do the fly around, you can still see those cufflinks. It was a great mission. And if you can condense all that time from that one mission, plus I had Pam Melroy, who I'm a fan of, be nice. I like her. If you could condense all the events that happened in just that one mission, that's a big deal. And it would have gotten people to watch. Same thing with the Hubble mission, last Hubble repair mission. Mike Massimino pulling on the handle on the Hubble, trying to rip the handle off. If he, does that and, snaps in his tether or something, goes flying off, he's lost in space, basically. Aside from, the safer pack, the little backpack with the little jets on it. But, this kind of stuff, everybody takes for granted, but the geeks see it for what it is. It's like, this is a big deal. Everybody else, Joe on the street looks at it and goes, this is stupid, it's a waste of money, there's nothing happening. I don't know, man. And then you had the one guy accident, and he felt bad for it. But you had the one guy, he kicked the Hubble telescope and snapped off the low gain antenna. And he was just working on it. He's like, shit, he's the last one to touch it. And it goes flying off in the distance, and he was mad at himself. They thought they were done, he thought they wrecked it. Now he's going to cause a delay. Now it's not going to be able to produce all the awesome images that the Hubble was supposed to be producing. He goes back inside, and you can tell he didn't want to talk about it. He knew what he did wrong. Everybody else knew, this is a sensitive subject. He was real down on himself. NASA called up a little while later and said, guess what? It's working fine. So, he was relieved, but that was a big deal. He snapped off. It kind of looked like a pitot tube, sort of. Little piece about that long, and he kicked it. But you see that kind of stuff, and nobody, the general population doesn't see that. They don't give a shit. They don't know that stuff. They see they see sunlight, they see a round Earth from the helmet cam. They see darkness, and then they see, these guys floating around doing one of these up, and, they got it's all boring. It takes 8 hours to turn a nut. I understand. Okay, yeah, it's a little boring. But you get these little snippets of excitement, losing the tool bag. It only takes 3 seconds, but that's 3 seconds you can't get back because you just cost $100,000 in tools. So, I get a kick out of that stuff. Uncle BS says the humble images aren't awesome until they're layered. I don't know. Some of them actually came out pretty good even without being layered. The magic of the Hubble images has been diminished since seeing how they were assembled. Yeah, I'll give you that. That's true. But at the same time, it is still really cool to see some of those images. The Sauron, the Eye of Sauron, which is a big, looks like a dragon eye, big red thing. But no, you can't even buy the wrench at Home Depot. The wrenches that, well, they don't use wrenches in space. They use PGTs, pistol grip tools. And that's basically just a Black & Decker cordless drill. Product placement. Maybe one of these companies will sponsor me and help me get a better webcam. Just kidding. But no, like everything they do, everything that they use in space aside, outside the structures is, engineered by NASA. They don't have any special frills. They're grounded. They're intrinsically safe so that they don't have to worry about any kind of spark causing any kind of explosion. But, yeah, and, I enjoy watching that stuff, and it's very expensive, but at the same time, it works, because if you break a tool out in space, it takes a while to go back inside and get a new one. They do have toolboxes outside, but still, you only have 8 hours, and as we all know, it takes 6 hours to go 300 feet. It's not their fault. I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, there are more energy efficient ways, but they got to do what they got to do. You're out there basically in a bag, as I shake. You're out there basically in a bag, and you have to work for 8 hours in a pressurized suit, which is resisting any motion. I'm Canadian, Minnesota. They have to resist any motion that you make. They're doing workouts every time they bend their fingers. No, not in emotion, but don't you know? Welcome to Canada, eh? But no, it's neat watching. I get a kick out of it. And like I said, people get, they think it's boring. I understand where they're coming from, but when you see the condensed version, even if it's in double speed, it actually looks interesting. 3 or 4 speed gets a little bit more interesting, a little more exciting. Hello, Tank Master. Basically, this is just a show discussing things that pertain to space and aviation, and I also answer questions from the crowd. Not an expert, but I'm a pretty avid fan, and if I do make a mistake, I've got a couple of awesome sources in here that'll gladly correct me, which I always expect to be corrected. So, if you have any questions about space or aviation, astronomy, or the space shuttle or anything like that, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. I cover launches for Space Vidcast. Space Vidcast is an awesome website. They cover all launches in HD. They cover NASA TV in HD. I do not, because, well, I'm on a 640 by 480 camera. But they have all the high-tech stuff. They got awesome microphones, gear, and Space Vidcast is just a great website. I promote them as best I can, but I don't have any physical stuff to show you, so I'll just type it into the link. There you go. Oh, Jim, yeah, I've seen what you're talking about. Oh, I did. Sorry, guys. Forgot about that part. I'm a little smarter than that, I swear. Let's see. My nose itches. Deal with it. I don't know how to disable that permanently. Like, I don't have enough people here to cause spam. So, I have to figure out how to permanently enable links. Ooh. Alright, let's turn this on. Oh! What is that command? Plus U, I think. Oh. I'll tell you what, Brian. I'll make you an op so that you can do it for me, because I don't remember. Sorry. I'm not too familiar with IRC. Anyway, yeah. I don't get, I'm just starting off. This show is progressively getting bigger. This week happened to be a little bit busier than usual, so I have fewer viewers than usual. Last week I had about 20-something, 22 I think. I don't expect a lot of viewers. It's not a professional show. But I am trying because I actually do have a passion. I actually give a shit about spaceflight. I give a shit about, why humans should go to space. And part of that, not the only reason, but part of that is, in order for us to survive as a species, we have to either thin the herd, which nobody wants to do, or we have to move on to another planet or object in the solar system. That's really the only two choices we have. Or, the third option, wait for Mother Nature to thin the herd for us. Whether it's a large meteor or a massive caldera explosion or something like that. We don't have much in the way of, improving the species or, exploring or anything like that. It takes the effort. Oh, well, there you go. Thanks, Tank Master. I do appreciate it. I've been very graciously given the permission to post about my show on SpaceVidcast Twitter account, but other than that, I'm still trying to get more viewers just because I feel it is something that people should care about. It's also a nice day-to-day, so there aren't going to be too many viewers I would expect. Helldesk, living in space isn't a problem. That's true. Natural resources are, and harvesting asteroid would be a good idea. I agree with that completely. I think the biggest hurdle would be taking advantage of, in situ resource utilization. Water vapor, or water rather, not water vapor. That's something we need for survival and, to go up off the ground. So I don't object to it. So what else? You guys got more questions or anything you want to throw out? Any by the ways? By the way, I have one. If you go out and look at the moon tonight, go take a look at the moon. It's absolutely gorgeous. Perfect. Just beautiful full moon tonight. Loved it. You can see Orion, constellation Orion. It's pretty cool. But the moon is just spectacular tonight. It's a great night to go out and look at it too. So if you got a telescope, what are you sitting here for? Oh, clouds suck. Don't like clouds. Don't blame you. Retro Gemini thing. What, is that the Ophiuchus constellation? The new constellation that somebody just arbitrarily threw in? Building habitats in space and progressing towards big O'Neill cylinders would be awesome. I agree. Yep. I'd like to see that stuff. Won't happen in our lifetime, I don't think. But, yeah, it would definitely be cool to see. Ophiuchus. Yep. Yeah, it's the Retro Gemini thing. Yeah, they added another constellation to the, the Zodiac. And it's like, really? You couldn't just leave it well enough alone? But they're saying, well, the universe is changing. Who cares? We know that the universe is changing, but some people like, the original. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not really all that into horoscopes and astrology so much. Some people are. But, it's... I don't know. Ophiuchus is a little silly. I think adding it's a little arbitrary. A little random. Astrology might be BS for some people. Like I said, I don't take it for anything, but some people get excited. Yeah, the world will end next year. Yep. I forgot about that. Damn it. Nibiru always got to wreck the scene. I keep forgetting that part. Stupid rock. Hiding on the other side. Oh, that's the other thing. Something I did want to mention about these hoax believers and conspiracy theorists and all that. Those of you who think Nibiru actually exists on the other side of the sun, remember one thing. There was a probe who I happen to be friends with well, not direct friends, but friends by proxy, with the project manager of Ulysses, which was the only solar polar satellite orbiting the sun. and its orbit stretched out as far as Jupiter. So anything between the sun and Jupiter, this thing saw. It literally, we're here, this thing went like this around the sun. It went over top and underneath. Everybody, anything in there, it could have seen. But all these people are saying, you know, there's this thing on the other side of the sun. There's nothing there. Ulysses would have seen it. But whatever. They get all excited. People are, oh yeah, 2012, the world's gonna... It's not gonna end, guys. Relax. If it ends, you can come to my house, bring your pitchforks and your torches, and you can set my computer on fire, and you can beat me up. I don't care. But if it does not end, my turn. I get to make fun of all of you that bash me. That fair? Okay. By the way, if you have any doubts that I'm telling the truth about 2012 being a complete, piece of shit, go to NASA's website. Everybody says, oh yeah, NASA says so. Go to NASA's website. Not there. HD, I can get my own M1 Grand, just in case you come over. And it's not going to be mine. It's my father-in-law's, but maybe he'd be willing to show you. I don't know. I like the M1. Very heavy, though. But, no, I'm, Brian, if you have to opt someone who knows what they're doing with that, by all means, go ahead, because I'm not good with the link stuff. Sorry. Thanks. That'll work. But, no, I don't know. I'm kind of looking forward to see what next year, what happens next year. Oh, there's something else going on. Some of you may remember Hale-Bopp, that comet, I guess about 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Big Hale-Bopp comet everybody made a big stink of. This August, there's going to be one that they think is going to be even brighter than that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure when in August just yet, but they're saying that it should be really, really bright. Not like, full moon bright, but, it's actually going to be pretty significant. It'll be brighter than Hale-Bopp was. Hale-Bopp? What's Hale-Bopp? Hale-Bopp, B-O-P-P. So, but yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that. I hope it does happen. That'd be pretty cool. Hale-Bopp was the one that everybody they had on the news, the Heaven's Gate cult, and they were saying that the spaceship was in the tail of the comet. I remember that, and I laughed hysterically, because you see this guy, and he looks like, I don't know, it's hard to say, kind of like a troll, mixed with a gnome, mixed with like a bridge keeper, mixed with Walter from Jeff Dunham's show or something. And he had this big dumb look on his face and these massive ears, and he's got that purple suit, and he's like, come with me, my children. Come with me to the land of the happy. And it's like, come on, dude, you're already off a little in the head. And then they found them all dead, and they were like, oh no, we're gonna go up, our spirits are gonna go into the spaceship behind the Hale-Bopp comet in the tail, and we'll just leave our bodies behind because we don't need them anymore in the afterlife. And it's, come on. And then they go in and they found them all, and, oh look, they're wearing the same shoes and they're purple. So it was so bad. And I'm watching it and I'm looking at it, and I was like, you know what, I could do that with enough bullshit on just this little webcam. But oh, where's my foil hat, guys? I can't find it. Who stole my foil hat? No, I'll find it when the comet gets here. On the subject of comets, one more thing I do want to mention about them, as I have an eyelash that decided to go errant. Yes, Princess has my foil hat. NASA just reused some of your taxpayer dollars, and that's a good thing, because they had a Comet Temple 1 goes through and leaves bits behind, and one of the satellites flew through it and then returned some samples back to Earth. Well, that satellite, that probe, went through another comet. Actually, no, it was Comet Temple 1, I believe. Went through that tail again and got a second sample for free. It's like, well, we're already out here, might as well grab it. So he stuck their arm out the window, grabbed a sample, and, found out, did a mass spectrometer, and they looked at it to see what else was in it. And, NASA reused your tax dollars. Nice job. But some bad news. The 2012 financial budget for NASA is 0.45%. Last year was 0.59%. This year, 2011, is 0.58. So we went 59, 58, 45. Dude, why? Okay, the shuttle's getting canceled. Fine, I get that. Spend that money developing the next design. Congress, White House, Capitol Hill, whatever you want to call it, all of you, you fail. Fix your shit. That's all I'm saying. You're out there, if you're such supporters of intelligence and science and technology and engineering and mathematics, inspire somebody. Seriously, come on. Bolden needs to come out and actually do something productive. He can't seem to agree on what rocket to design. He can't seem to agree on what kind of path to go forward on. Do something. We're trying to make this happen. We're passionate space geeks. That's why we're here. That's why everybody is watching, is chatting amongst themselves. This is stupid to not take advantage of. We're at a time now where science is more important than ever. And that's factually true. I mean, look at what we're doing. Medical, technology, everything. And you've got all this stupid shit happening. NASA only gets 4.5 or 0.45% of the budget? Like I said, if you're not going to spend it on a rocket, at least spend it on education. Getting the word out that space is worth investing in. Or that space is worth learning about. You've got, like I said last week, you've got people that don't even know the space station exists. And it's been up there for the last 13 years. Come on, NASA. Come on, Congress. You guys just... Charlie Bolden's the administrator. I respect his position. I didn't respect Mike Griffin in his position. He's a former administrator. He was the one that came up with the stupid Ares design. But, come on. Just, like I said, if you're not going to put money towards a rocket, Congress, you're the ones that's actually making the budget for NASA. How about you either make the budget for NASA intelligently, or stop telling NASA how to make a rocket? Yeah, they're saying now that they can't afford to make this new rocket design by 2016. No wonder! You're throwing peanuts into the cage. How about you throw them some ground beef? Let them get something productive done. Nope. No, we'd rather just spend excessive amounts of money trying to find someone who's probably already died, in the Afghan or Pakistan mountains in a tunnel somewhere. Like Osama bin Laden. I don't get it. It's just absolutely frustrating to me. I have a lot of respect for what NASA does. I have a lot of respect for the tasks that Congress is supposed to do. But when you cut that much out of the budget, let me give you a bit of perspective because I'm not good with fractions and conversions. I'm good with fractions. I'm not good with conversions. 0.58% is $18 billion. That's all NASA gets in 1 year right now. In 2012, that 0.58 is going to shrink down to 0.45. I don't know how much less that is, but it sounds to me like it's probably about 17 billion. Come on. Don't take that away. Some people complain about how much it costs to launch a shuttle. But you're taking away almost an entire shuttle launch just by doing that $1 billion. How about you spend it on making a new rocket? I'm challenging you, Congress. How about you give NASA that money to work towards making a new rocket? We want to go to the moon. There are a lot of people in America who actually think it might be a good idea to go to the moon. Nobody wants to declare war on China as far as the space race goes. I'm not saying actual combat. I'm saying, hey, we're in a space race. We did it with Russia. There was a huge upmass, an upheaval in people who gave a shit about, technology and, avionics, electronics, education, engineering, all this stuff. There's a vacuum there. And if you're supposed to be so, supportive of education, prove it. Let NASA have the money. I dare you. If any congressman happens to float across this anytime this year, Tell your friends, tell the rest of the suits, the stiffs that you work with, tell them to pull their head out of their ass, give NASA the money that they should be getting to inspire the kids who are going to be working on rockets in the future, working on technology in the future, like heart monitoring machines, because all of you congressmen are actually getting old now. I'm going to leave it at that. I challenge you. If you don't want to step up to the plate, we know what the truth is. But, Apache Man makes a very valid comment. People actually felt threatened by Russia. Uncle BS, that's exactly what I said. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics. It's just frustrating to me that we've, there's so much of a stray away from the things that actually matter to things like the Jersey Shore. Science grades are lower than they've been in, 40, 50 years. Look at what they did with what little they had to get us to the moon. Now, some people say we never went, whatever. Why would you fake it 9 times? But the point is, they're taking slide rules and they're making things happen that almost physically should not have happened. But because they use ingenuity and creativity, they got, that big giant rocket. Okay, here's a good example. This is a Saturn V rocket. The little dot at the top, that's the Apollo lander. They got that little thing all the way out there, 240,000 miles away. Congress can't even get us out of low Earth orbit. Do you see the fundamental problem here? But China's going to build their own space station. China's going to build a couple of their own lunar probes, their own lunar landers. And, yeah, I've been sniffing that glue. Oh, man. Well, kids used to eat this stuff back in the day. I never did. I kind of like putting that on the back of my hand. China's going to build their own space station. They're going to build their own lunar rocket. They're going to build their own Martian rocket. It's going to go all the way out there and bring stuff back. And everybody's going to go, hey, how come we didn't do that? Because the Congress didn't care. That's really what it comes down to. So, it's very disheartening for me. I'm a huge fan of this stuff. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be doing this. My wife's not too keen on it. She's okay with it, but she understands that this is a passion I've had for many years. And, she's a geek too. She just won't admit it near as readily as I will. She appreciates science and everything that's involved with it. But this takes away, I don't mind doing it. I enjoy it. It's a labor of love, and it might be a hassle for some people or inconvenient, but whatever. Apache Man says Chinese astronauts weigh less, so it's easier for them. Yes, that's true. It is a little easier to get them to space. It might be a couple of 100 pounds here and there, but, what are they? The average height's like 5'2" for an adult male, 5'5" for an adult male. In America, it's like 5'10" now, 5'7", 5'8", somewhere in that range. But you got me 6'2". It's going to take a little bit more effort to get me into, orbit or to the moon than it would, Jackie Chan, for example, because I can't think of a really short Asian person. No offense, just saying. Quantum G just chimed in. Good to see you. Good morning, sir. He said, what would have been nice is if Burt Rutan decided 7 years ago to just keep flying Spaceship One, maybe build another one and take on paying customers. That would have been awesome. I have to agree. And that'd teach NASA, or at least Congress, pretty valuable lesson. De-ass yourself. But it's so disheartening. And I enjoy watching it. I enjoy seeing what's happening until I start seeing how much NASA's not going to get next year. We've only got 3 launches left, and they're all supposed to happen this year. So, they're talking now they might extend it to 2017. I don't see the shuttle program happening like that. No. I think they're going to can it before then. And if they don't can it and they actually try to push through with it, I think we're actually going to lose a space shuttle. I think one's going to fail, kind of like Challenger, maybe something similar. Maybe a debris, foam hit by the tank, who knows. But I think if they try to push to 2017, we're going to lose another orbiter. That's just my thoughts. Knock on wood, hopefully it doesn't happen, but I think so. Jim Noble says no one's going to pay for STS until 2017. I agree. But if they end up getting it approved, You know, I don't support that one bit. I'm not happy with that decision if they do. They're just oh, excuse me. They're just rumors right now, but you know, if it does happen. The gray thing in my picture next to the shuttle won't make it 6 more years. Are you talking about this? That's the F-14. They retired that back in 2006. 2006, whatever you want to call it. Oh, you're talking about the launch tower, I assume. If you're referring to the launch tower, I have to agree. That, yeah, it won't make it because the salt spray. Salt spray air. Oh, okay, you were referring to the tower. Yeah, it's all fallen in disrepair. I'm a little bummed out to see, but I understand why, you know. They don't have the money to fix it. Just like they don't have money to do anything else right, apparently. And the wind's starting to pick up outside. But, no, so, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, you know, Congress will de-ass themselves and actually give them money that they need. But, we'll see what happens. I'm just... That's such a bummer to see that. I saw a 0.45%, and I'm like, that's it, you know. Congress really did jump the shark on that. Jim Noble said, with regards to the new tower, 2 words, bungee jumping. Yep, that's about all it's good for anymore, because Ares ain't going to happen. And I really don't think the Liberty launcher is going to happen, but we'll see what, you know, we'll see what that comes to. Yeah, the towers definitely do need a lot of, well, the one tower, that one, sorry, definitely needs a lot of help. Salt spray air is very bad for rocket launch towers, so, actually my wife, I don't know, you know, if she has a name for him or remembers his name, but she actually knew someone, in high school who, once he graduated, got a job working, out there at the pads, painting them after the launches. I don't know if it was shuttle launches or if it was the ULA, you know, Delta Atlas launches, maybe even Titan at that point. But he used to paint the launch pads, the towers, after each launch. So she don't have a name for him. I don't think she remembers. She just threw her hand up. Huh? Remy. That's the only source she has, the only name. But Maston needs to launch rockets from the Ares towers. I agree. That would be cool. I wonder if Maston's hiring. I'd like to get a job with them or Armadillo. If if you have any connections, I'll be getting my A&P license about this time next year. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Maybe put in a good word for me. Yeah, from the top of the tower. Well, alright, you got the roller coaster already built into it for the crew escape system. You could launch the rocket from the top of the tower. You could do bungee jumping from the side of the tower. You know, base jumping, of course. Who knows what else you could do? You could do like rock climbing, you know, wall climbing on the side of it. Just turn that thing into a big giant amusement park. It's 300 feet high. You do whatever you want with it. It's just a big tower. But and you can turn the mobile launch pad, the crawler, into a really slow tourist attraction. Just drive around all day with the joysticks, look at Kennedy Space Center, see the VAB for 14 hours of it as you just drive down the block and back. But you know, it's a $6 million thing. You could always like put cars in front of it too, or old shuttle, old rocket designs. Just squish them. Not the space shuttle; those are too pretty. But like Titan and Thor, that kind of stuff. Just run it over, turn it into a can. Ooh. Wow, the wind just picked up considerably. They're saying tomorrow we get like 50 miles an hour gusts. So 50 mile an hour gusts. Anyway, I'm running a little bit long on the show. I'm going to go ahead and cut it down as far as the official show goes. I'm not sure if I can do a post-show afterwards. I'm going to find out if I have any plans going on. But I'm going to go ahead and stop recording. And thanks for watching. And tune in next week's... it'll be Saturday next week, 7 o'clock, because I've got school Friday. So tune in next Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern, and I'll have another episode in store. And I already got a couple ideas in mind. So until next time, keep your eyes to the sky.